So you need to update your table of contents, pages 131 through 133, factoring review and reducing fractions. Hey. You're on page 131 of your notebook. 131. Now, we're going to work these problems together. You're going to write it in your notebook, and then we're going to work it, okay? So I want you to write at the top, write mixed factoring review. And there are going to be 10 questions, so you've got plenty of room on your paper. Let's look at number 1. What's the first thing you always look for when you factor? Is there one on number 1?
Yeah.
What is it? 2. 2. Now, if we factor out a 2, what are we left with? Good. 9x squared minus 4. After you factor out a GCF, your question is, self?
Am I finished?
I love you. Am I finished? Will?
Yes, in it. You said no yellow.
Will that factor?
Yes.
Will that factor? That's a difference of 2 squares. How does that factor? That's the dots too. What's the square root of this? 3x. What's the square root of this? So it's a minus. So it's a difference of 2 squares. 2 times. Perfect. But they're not the same thing because one's a plus and one's a minus. Yeah. Yeah. Does it matter if I put the plus first or the minus first? No, it doesn't matter. Good. Write down number 2, please. Aha. How many terms do you see?
4.
Factor by
Let me go to that.
grouping.
Wait.
By grouping. Now, you have a section in your notebook on factoring. Ah. And there's a place in that section, in that unit, about factoring by grouping, which I think is on page 11. If you go back to your notebook on page 11, this is 3 by 1s. Go back to page 11. That's factoring by grouping with a 2 by 2. I love that somebody said, oh, that's in our notebook already. Okay. Now we're going to pair them up. Does that first pair have a GCF?
Yes. X squared.
X squared. And if I factor out an x squared, what am I left with? Mm-hmm. Now, what do I need to have left in these parentheses? X minus 2, right. So what do I need to factor out of this? Negative 9. Good. Negative 9. And remember, you always factor out a sign even if it's plus. Times. So now it's x minus 2 times. And then you say, self, am I finished? Ah, there's a difference of 2 squares sitting right there. Can I do anything with x minus 2? No. So x minus 2 times, yep, x plus 3 times x minus 3. I hope from the bottom of my heart that you're saying, oh yeah, I can do this.
Oh, yeah, I can do this.
Go to number 3. Go to number 3. There ain't no GCF. No, there ain't no GCF. So if there's not a GCF, how many terms do I have? So I can't do grouping because I don't have 4 terms. So that means I got to be able to do this somehow or another. Okay, 2x and 2x. I might, if 2x and 2x don't work, what would I use? 4x and 1x. Good, good. How do you want to try 25? You want to try 5 and 5? Well, I don't know. What are our signs, you think? What's this? That's negative 10x, and that's? I love to factor. Darrell had it knocked out real fast. And I could, if I want to, I could rewrite that differently. Either one of these is fine. I don't care which. Either one. Go to number 4. No, 4 times x squared plus 1. And then I say, self, am I finished? Will this x squared plus 1 factor?
Yes, it will. It will.
It's not a difference of 2 squares. It's a sum of 2 squares, and that won't factor. Done. You may need to go back into the factoring unit. Go back into your factoring table of contents, please. Factoring table of contents. So go to page, I'm just waiting here.
3.
Go to page 3. Look for, is that it? Perfect square term effect. Factoring. Factoring. Go back to page 21 of your notebook. That says factoring sum and difference of cubes. Do we have a sum of cubes or a difference of cubes? It's a minus, so is a minus a sum or a difference? A minus is a difference. Just okay, so let's look at the steps. Number 1, check for GCF. Does number 5 have a GCF? No. 1. Number 2, take the cube root of each term. What's the cube root of k cubed? What's the cube root of 8? Good. Now, look at number, Oh, I said step. Okay, the next step says plug in A and B and use SOAP for signs. Same, opposite. I'm so proud of you. All right. So, what's going to sit in these? That's all right. That's all right. You found it in your notebook, which is what I want you to be able to do. What do I put here? And what's the other number I put in? Same. So same. Okay. Now let's go over here. No. Now look. Over here in this parenthesis is a trinomial, 3 terms. This squared. No. Now the middle is this times this. And we'll do SOAP in a minute. And then this last term is, what's negative 2 squared? It's 4. SOAP, same, opposite, always positive. Why is that last term always positive? because you squared it, and squaring anything gives you a positive. See, the goal of this notebook that we're putting together is for you to have something to walk out of here with where you can, when you take college algebra, that you can, or ATM, when you can go back and find, oh yeah, I know how to do that, it's right here.
What if they take it away?
They won't. Now for a test or a quiz, they'll take it away, but not for regular stuff.
What is that? The Senate gave it. Give me.
Oh, you mean take it away in terms of I want it so you can't have it? Oh.
I don't think our college care. They probably know that.
Right.
Let's give it that one.
Number 6. Number 6.
Hey, are we done?
Yep, that was it. That was it. What's the first thing you look for when you factor? Is there one on number 6? X and X. 6 and 4.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh,
12 and 2. No, 12 positive 2.
is that right? What's this? Positive 2x. Negative 12x. Does that add up to give me negative 10x? Does this multiply to give me negative 24? Yes. Yes. There's your answer right here. It will be. Let's go to 7. There you go. There's a GCF of 4. And we've got to decide. I'm with you, but no. Yeah, maybe it could. Okay, help me out. X's. Where are your signs going to be? Okay, plus and minus. So plus what? Any idea? Plus 3 minus 2. What's this? What's this? Do those add up to give you positive 1x? Yep. Does that multiply to give you negative 6? Done. Done. I will let you write that down. Can I see your, can I see your table of contents again? It should be like right about page 20. Factoring, yeah, page 20 in your notebook. Page 20 in your notebook. Just a tiny bit different. How many terms do you see? You see 4. So we're going to group, and we're going to either group by 2 by 2 or a 3 by 1. Why can you look at this one and say it's going to have to be a 3 by 1? There you go. Okay, all right. So we're going to do this. How will that factor? X. I got an X and an X. What are my signs? Not just 3. Now, is this, let's check, let's make sure this works. If you multiply that all out, do you get what we started with? Sure do. Now, what's another way I can write this one? Good. X plus 3y quantity squared. So x plus 3y quantity squared minus 100. Self,
Are you done?
am I finished? What if this just said x squared minus 100? That's the difference of two squares, x plus 10 times x minus 10. Is this something squared minus 100? It is, isn't it? That says something squared minus 100. No, because I don't have two sides. I don't have an equal. So, what's the square root of that mess right there? So it's x plus 3y and x plus 3y. If this had been x squared minus 100, you'd have done x and x and plus 10 and minus 10. That's what we're going to do here, plus 10 and minus 10. I don't know if you remember, but these were the toughest ones for us. The 3 by 1. Oh, that's why we're reviewing, trying to get it back in your head.
Wait, so this is not
Huh?
our actual assignment?
No, sweetheart, that's not your actual assignment. We're going to apply this in what you're learning. What is the GCF? 2, good. Times 6x squared minus 7x self. Am I finished? We got to see if that will factor. Let's try.
You say that.
Let's try.
Wait, they have some magic.
How would you want to factor 6x squared? All right. What do I know about our signs?
Different.
Good, they're different. But I don't know if the positive is going to go with the 3x or if the positive is going to go with the 2x. I don't know. How do I factor 3? 3 and 1. But I don't know if the 3 goes here or if the 3 goes here. That's the guess part of guess and check.
3 goes with the 2.
Start all over, please.
Put the 3 on the right side. Put the 2 on the left side. There's going to be a negative on the right side and a positive on the other side.
You tell me what to write down. 3x.
Plus 2. No, not 2. The other way around. 1. You know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you mean. 3x plus 1.
The other option on the right side. Yeah.
Let's see, does this work? What's that? What's that?
Hey, it works.
Oh. But does this work?
Yeah.
Sure does. Sure does.
Oh.
Sure does. I'm going to say well done. So, I know. Hey, Friday's tomorrow, right? GCF of what?
2.
Of 2. There you go. Here we go. He almost yelled at you. All right, then.
Text just know how to yell.
Yeah, he does.
Here we go. Factor out of 2. 2a squared. Self. How do I factor 2a squared? 2a and a. What are my signs going to be? Good, different, positive and negative. But I don't know which one goes where. How do I factor 7?
7, 1.
I don't have any options there, do I? Just 7 and 1. Now, but I don't know where the 7 goes and where the 1 goes. Again, this is the guess part. Yeah, this is the guess part. What if I put the 7 there and the 1 there? If, what's this give you? Let's not worry about signs yet. What's this give you? What's this give you? If one of those is positive and one of those is negative, can I get a positive 7a? Well, snap.
That's the way around. It don't work.
What's that? I hear Darth Vader. If one of those is positive, one of those is negative, what do you get? Do you get that? No, you don't get that. So, no, there's a solution. It's this right here. It just won't go any farther. So, self, we were finished. All right. That's our factoring review. All right. No. Yep. Yes. I'm going to give you a pink sheet. This pink sheet is going to go on your page 132. Here we go. Now, the first thing you need to know is what's the crap is a rational expression. Now, we talked about it a little bit the other day. A rational expression is a fraction where there's a variable in the bottom. A variable in the bottom. So it's a fraction that's got a variable in the bottom. Put this away. All right. Step 1, when you are simplifying a rational expression, factor everything. We're gonna. Well, cancel factors, not terms. I'll show you. That's what she says makes the kitten die. I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, I know. All right. If 2 terms are close to canceling, factor out a. Now I'm going to show you what I'm talking about there. Take a look at these 2 expressions right here, x minus 4 and 4 minus x. But so close. What's different about them? What? Now, look at the x here. Is that x positive or negative? Is this x positive or negative? So the x's are opposites. Is this 4 positive or negative? Is this 4 positive or negative? The x's have the opposite signs and the 4's have opposite signs. We say those are different by -1. I'm going to show you what I mean. If I factor a -1 out of this thing right here, then I get, what's -1 times -x? Positive x. What's -1 times +4? -4. So this and this are the same because this is -x and this is +4. Okay? Right, just the different signs. So factoring out a -1 takes care of that. That's what we're talking about right here. Now, we're going back to arithmetic, which means no letters. Okay? No letters. What is that for real? That's 4/3. Now, according to Miss Ulaga, what kills the kitten is when people do that.
Wait, what? If you cross them out. Cancel them.
When they're adding and subtracting, you can't do that. Because if you do that, what's 1 plus 1? 2 over 1 is, now what's 2 divided by 1? 2. It's not 4/3. Yeah. Now, can you do this? Can you do that?
Yes.
Why? Before, what do I get here if I do this? 6 over 3, which is, but if I do this, I get 2. Why can I do this and I cannot do this? Because this is multiplication. You can do that in multiplication, but you cannot do it in addition and subtraction. That is what she means right here. I know that just makes my heart just a little sad. Because my cat is orange. So that, I remember when he looked like that. I know, right? Okay. A cat should be the same color as a cast iron skillet. Well, all right. Okay. Aiden said that. Aiden said that. Now, we've got 2 problems to do at the bottom of this page. Well, let's take a look. Do I have any everything on the numerator is being multiplied, right? This is negative 36 times x cubed. And on the bottom, this is 42 times x squared. So they're products. I'm multiplying. Can I factor out common factors when I'm multiplying? That's okay. I can do that. Now, if you need to, you can think it like this at first. I don't think you're going to need to do that. You have a calculator. Can you think of the biggest thing that'll go into 36 and 42? 7 doesn't go into 6 does. Divide them both by 6. What's negative 36 divided by 6? What's 42 divided by 6? So that part simplifies to 6 over 7. Now let's look at the x's. How's that going to simplify? There you go. If you're dividing like bases, what do you do to the exponents? You subtract. So that's going to give me just x in the numerator or denominator? Numerator. If the exponent was negative, but the exponent is not negative, so no, I don't have to flip anything. Now, this is going to give me, let's remember, do you remember why that rule Durrell said works? This is how many x's multiplied together. So that's, and this is how many x's multiplied together. So there's one that's like, there's one that's like in the top, in the numerator. So what's the answer to this thing? Negative 6x over 7. There you go. That's it. And I can hear some of you, but there's a catch. There's got to be a catch. Now, promise is not a catch. It's a GCF. Look at your number 1 at the very top of this paper. What's it say to do first? Factor everything. Look at the numerator. Can I factor that numerator? Can I factor that numerator? How? 4 is a GCF, right? Times. Denominator? No, there is, because those are both even. Okay. Now, I want you to understand right here, you don't write this down, but this is the same thing as, you buy that? That's the same thing. Can I simplify this? That's right. That's just 2. Now, remember, if you try to factor out those x's right here, the kitten dies. You can't do that because you have to be able to factor out that whole thing since it's in parentheses. So your answer right here is 2 times x minus 1 over 3x minus 10. If you're going to factor out anything in here, you have to factor it all out at one time. Now, tape or glue that on your page, is it 132? We're going to do some practice on page 133, just writing it in there. But yeah, we're close to being finished. We have 6 questions to do. This one starts with number 3. So we did 1 and 2 on the pink paper, so we're starting with number 3 up here. Shush. Please put at the top simplifying rational expressions. Now, here we go. Number 3. We are simplifying rational expressions. It means we're simplifying a fraction. Now we're going to do what we did on that pink sheet. What's step 1? Hang on just a minute. What's step 1? Will that numerator factor?
Yes.
How? You can factor out a 2 out of the as a GCF. 2 times, right, divided by x minus 2.
Is that finished or
No.
do we need to?
Remember, this says 2 times x minus 2 over x minus 2. That x minus 2 is the same, right? This would be the same thing as saying 2 times 3 divided by 3, because I can factor out that whole thing. The answer is 2.
So it has the same. Yeah. When you translate, you can't.
It's just like this right here.
Wait, Miss, that was like. Are we only doing like 6? Like, we're gonna only do 4 questions on this?
No, we'll do 6 on this page. 6 on this page. All right, number 4. Number 4. Now I want you to take a minute and factor the numerator and factor the denominator. No, sweetheart, we're doing 6 questions on this page. We did numbers 1 and 2 on the pink page, and we're going to do numbers 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this page.
6 total problems. Thank you.
Yeah, do the math. That's why you're here, dude. Does that numerator factor? How? Good. X plus 2 times x plus 3. Does the denominator factor? X minus 1 times x plus 3. Is Karen right on that? Yep. Good. Now, do I have any common factors? I can factor out an x plus 3. Now, if you factor out just that x, that kitten dies. You can't do that. You got to factor out the whole factor. There's your answer. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I like to factor. And I like to teach students when they like to factor. Number 5. Let's go to number 5. Will the numerator factor? No. Will the denominator? How? Yep, x minus 5 times x minus 5. Now, folks, this is just like having 3 over 3 times 3. That would be, no, that wouldn't be 3. What would this be? That would be 1/3. This is 1 over x minus 5. Let's talk about number 6. I'm going to give you a couple minutes and let you work on factoring number 6. Are y'all factoring? Anybody factoring like mine? No, because if I FOIL that, if I distribute the 2 into the x minus 1, I have 2x minus 2. Yep. Yes. Now, what do you see? So you are left with 2 times x minus 1 divided by 2x plus 1. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot do this. It does. You cannot do that. Some people do. All right. We got 2 problems left to do. Hey, let's look at number 7. Will the numerator factor? How? What? I have an x as a GCF times what? Don't make me yawn, Joanna. Will the denominator factor?
Yes.
We got to try. We got to try. Hey. Will this denominator factor?
Yes.
How? Do you have any common factors that you can factor out?
Wait, no. Can we? Yeah.
I can factor them out, but it's not 1. They're not exactly the same. Yeah. So here's what you can do. Here's the way you can write it. You can just do and put -1. I don't. What have I got? I've got x times -1, which is -x over x plus 1. One more. Holy moly. What's the GCF? 2? 2 times what? over. What do you see? These will cancel, provided I put a, well, it's -1 times 2. Anything left in the bottom? There you go. Yeah, don't forget those negatives. I think you are. And even with that little distraction, we still finished at 1 minute after 3, so I think that's pretty good. Pretty good.